And welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel. This Friday morning video is a wee preview of tonight's game between Celtic and Falkirk. It's in the second round of the Scottish League Cup, and the game is going to be live on Premier Sports 1 with a kick-off at 19:45. In today's video, I'm going to go through my predicted lineup, and I've got two predicted lineups, and depending on quite how Brendan Rodgers sees this game, plus one or two wee stats and previous games between Celtic and Falkirk, and a wee quick update on Brendan Rodgers' Thursday afternoon press conference, and also tidying up one or two wee bits of transfer news and rumours, etc. So, as I say, Celtic take on Falkirk Friday evening, 19:45, kick-off live on Premier Sports, and I'm sure that Rodgers will put out a strong team. The question is whether he puts out the strongest possible 11, the 11 he's intending to start against Kairat Almaty the following Wednesday in the first leg of the Champions League playoff round, or whether he's going to look to rest one or two players, give some of the backups more experience, and also give a few of the fringe players like Paulo Bernardo, Inamura, Yamada, Tilio, etc. some game time. So I've actually gone forward with two different teams. Version 2 we'll start with. That pretty much is Rodgers' strongest possible team. Kasper Schmeichel in goals, Alsa Johnson at right back, Carter Vickers and Scales in central defence, Kieran Tierney at left back, midfield three of McGregor, Hatate and Nygren, out wide on the right Forrest, through the middle Ida, and out wide on the left Maeda. That does obviously risk a few of Celtic's likely starters against Kairat Almaty with getting injuries, but it certainly would give some of Celtic's players some vital game time. A few of Celtic's players look like they are still not quite yet into top gear, such as Dyson Maeda, and Kieran Tierney still working his way back to fitness. In the Thursday afternoon press conference, Ben Rodgers was a wee bit vague regarding just what level of team he's going to put out, whether he's going to rest players, rotate players, and he was, I think, kind of implying he was going to go with his strongest possible 11 to give players like Carter Vickers, Alsa Johnson, Maeda a bit more game time and allow Kieran Tierney to build his fitness up more, and also a potential chance for Adam Ida to gain some confidence going into the vital European game the following Wednesday. Another option, which is the one I would personally go for, is a kind of 50-50 team, a mixture of experienced players and the backup players, a couple of the academy players on the bench, plus some strong players on the bench, and a few of Celtic's number one starters and stars getting a game off to protect them from injury so close to the Kairat Almaty double-header. So my other thought regarding a team for the game against Falkirk later today, Viljami Sinisalo in goals, Anthony Ralston at right back, centre-backs Trusty and Jemai Simpson-Puzzi, left-back Liam Scales, McGregor, Engels and McCowan in midfield, and a front three of Ida centrally, Yang and Forrest. On the bench players such as Doohan, Inamura, Donovan, McCardle, Kenny, Yamada, Nygren, Paulo Bernardo and Tilio, so a mixture of more experienced first-choice starters in the team, a few on the bench, and a couple of our more talented young players also on the bench, assuming that the game goes all to plan. So Brendan Rodgers does have a wee bit of a conundrum to solve, and as I said in the Thursday afternoon press conference, he was a wee bit vague as to what side he would go with. It did look like he might well go with the strongest starting 11 for tonight's game, and then maybe do a wee bit of resting and rotating for the Livingston match that separates the first and second legs of Kairat Almaty. And so it will be quite interesting to see what Rodgers releases in terms of the starting 11 and subs an hour or so before kick-off this evening. Just looking at some of the stats for previous Celtic against Falkirk matches, Celtic have played Falkirk in all competitions 153 times before. Celtic have 100 wins, 29 draws, and 24 defeats over the years. At Celtic Park, 76 games at Celtic Park against Falkirk, with 59 wins, 10 draws, and just 7 defeats. And Celtic have never lost to Falkirk in the Scottish League Cup, with 14 games against Falkirk in that competition, 11 wins and 3 draws. And so Celtic obviously have a very good record against Falkirk, and no defeats ever to Falkirk in any Scottish League Cup match before. Last 3 times that Celtic played Falkirk were 5-2 win around about a year ago. That was in the League Cup as well, game where Celtic actually were 2-1 down at half time, but goals by Ida scoring twice and Kuhn scoring twice turned what could have been an embarrassing defeat into a 5-2 win. That was a game where Rodgers rested quite a few of his first choice starters. A couple of his usual first choice starters underperformed on the day. Players like Cal McGregor especially had a very poor game that day, but Celtic's very strong bench saved the day and took Celtic through to the next round and eventually winning the Scottish League Cup last season. Previous to that, Celtic played Falkirk in a Scottish Cup tie back in April 2021. That was a 3-0 win, goals by Christie, Elyounoussi and Forrest. And another prior game against Falkirk in the League Cup, that was the semi-final back in 2012, a game which Celtic won 3-1 with goals by Scott Brown from the penalty spot and 2 goals by Anthony Stokes. My own personal prediction for tonight's score against Falkirk will be a nice comfortable 3-0 win. I think no matter whether Celtic start with their best 11 and then withdraw them around about the hour mark, or start with a 50-50 side, I think Celtic are still going to have far too much firepower for Falkirk, who have not had the best of start to their Scottish Premiership season and were a wee bit patchy in the earlier group stages of this League Cup. And they haven't quite got back to last season's form. And so I'm going for a nice comfortable 3-0 win for Celtic in this evening's match. Brendan Rodgers did a press conference, as I was saying, Thursday afternoon. Not a terribly interesting press conference. Around about a quarter of it was about the fact that he didn't wear a tie last game against Aberdeen. Quite why that is a question journalists want to ask him, goodness only knows. There was the reassurance that Dyson Maeda is going nowhere and that Rodgers fully expects to have Maeda through past the transfer window shutting and onwards through the season. And Rodgers remains very confident and hopeful that Celtic will get a few players in over the next wee while, and was even possibly touting Celtic might get a player or two in before the Kairat Almaty game. Apparently, as long as the player is registered with the Scottish FA within 24 hours of the Almaty game, Celtic can play him, even though the deadline for submitting the squad expired at the end of Thursday. Now, unfortunately, no actual positive news in terms of transfers and loans in or out of the club has been confirmed that Sondre Orjasaeter, one of the players that Celtic had lined up possibly to be one of the wide players. Celtic had an unsuccessful bid for him in the winter window, with Sarpsborg turning down what was thought to be a £4.4 million offer. Now appears that he has now gone to 20 Enschede in the summer window for a fee around that level. And so obviously Sarpsborg changed their mind as to how much Orjasaeter was worth, as they were looking for 8 to 11 million in the winter window. They seem to have brought their price down quite considerably. Bit of confusion regarding the actual price in the end for Orjasaeter moving from Sarpsborg to 20 Enschede. Some people saying 4.5 million, some saying 5, some saying 6. And my suspicion is there's probably a basic 4.5 to 5 million deal with various different clauses and additional fees depending on how Orjasaeter plays for Enschede in Dutch football. Wasn't that impressed anyway with Orjasaeter, so it's not any loss to me. I don't think he quite had the body of work of a career prior to this point, nor were his skills for me that impressive, and so no real loss there. No real progress as yet, it would appear, in terms of signing Michel Ange Balikwisha, Jacob Breum, or Clement Bischoff. The rumours regarding Celtic and Antwerp being close to a deal keep on coming back, but never seems to come to a conclusion, and no mention of any actual further bids going into Go Ahead Eagles for Broom or going to Brøndby for Bischoff. But maybe, as Brendan Rodgers was suggesting, something is soon to crop up regarding them. Recurring stories regarding Celtic being interested in signing Jamie Vardy, who is currently a free agent. Vardy, 38 years old currently, will be 39 in January. Certainly had a very impressive career with Leicester, scoring 200 goals for them over his career. 6 goals for England at international level in 27 games, so clearly was a very talented striker in England for very many, many years. However, his output in goals did dip quite a bit, down to just 10 goals in the last season, and he had a couple of poor seasons prior to that as well. Personally, can't really see the sense of signing a 38-year-old going on 39-year-old striker, unless it's for some form of coaching role. That does not appear to be Vardy's plan. He has been linked with lots of different clubs, but nothing has really come through. He's been linked with Wrexham, Crystal Palace, Leeds, lots of clubs all around Europe, but nothing has come to pass. And my suspicion is that he might well end up playing a season or two in America or a season or two out in Saudi League football, and those seem more likely options for him. However, the stories of him coming to Celtic keep on cropping up again and again, and so we'll keep an eye on that one. Doesn't look like Celtic have made any further bids for Andy Irving of West Ham, even if they ever did in the first place. There do appear to be quite a number of teams looking to sign Andy Irving from West Ham. Not massively sure quite why that is, because I'm not really that impressed with him as a player. However, there are teams such as Rangers, teams in France, Germany, and Italy all rumoured to be looking at him, as well as other teams in the English Premier League. But I personally can't really see how he fits into Celtic with our current set of midfielders, and also several very exciting, talented young players in the academy and the B team who need first team football, as well as a few of our talented midfielders currently out on loan with teams such as Ayr, etc. That just about finishes things off for today's video. My plan is to do a post-match review early on Saturday morning after this evening's game against Falkirk, hopefully celebrating a nice comfortable win with no injuries and everybody coming through unscathed with a further 60 to 90 minutes of game time in their legs. As we go, just a wee polite suggestion, encouragement for those not yet subscribed to the channel. Please do click that subscribe button, keep the numbers pushing up through the 1300s, and as always, do pop your pleasant, polite thoughts, opinions, comments into the comment section regarding tonight's lineup, tonight's score. Until the next video, good luck Celtic in tonight's game against Falkirk, and goodbye and hail, hail.